Everyone, I'm back and I'm continuing my top 10 episodes of SpongeBob. Today we have Frankendoodle, our first season 2 episode. Now, if you would have asked me like 2 months ago, no, not 2 months ago, like a couple months ago, this would have been at number 1. But it got pushed back by some other episodes that I rewatched and preferred above it. Not to diminish this episode, it's great. And I'm going to get into why in a second. So, the episode is about an artist at sea dropping his pencil into the ocean and then SpongeBob and Patrick finding it. They create a drawing, well, a couple of drawings. They create Squidward's hair and Squidward, except I like to call him Squidwart. But the most important one they drew was Doodle Bob. Doodle Bob is one of my favorite SpongeBob characters of all time. He might actually be my favorite. I have a mini figure of him in my room as, like, I'm looking at it as we speak. But as for himself in the episode, he doesn't speak English, but all of his mannerisms and facial expressions say everything he needs to. Like, Patrick in this episode, segue, I know, Patrick in this episode is funny, like most of his season 1 to 4, oh, maybe 5, season 1 to 5 appearances. But I like to point out his line, "Where's the leak, ma'am?" is not his best line, but I'd be lying if it isn't in the top 10. It's up there with "That's because you rarely think," and is mayonnaise an instrument, as one of my favorite Patrick lines of all time. Anyway, Doodle Bob takes the pencil from SpongeBob and Patrick after beating up Squidward, and then they just conclude that they have to stop Doodle Bob, which also he drew SpongeBob's pineapple. I like the bush that they hide in. This episode is just amazing. So Doodle Bob just draws a hole. They fall in it. And then this is where the "Where's the leak, ma'am?" line comes from. Because when Doodle Bob drops a wrench on SpongeBob and Patrick's head, he gets hurt, grabs the wrench, or the wrench drops into his hands, or lack thereof, and says the famous line. And then, once they climb back up, Doodlebob draws a bowling ball, which Patrick's head turns into a bowling pin. He hits it, gets a strike, and then the bowling ball falls, hits Patrick again, second strike, and Patrick says, "Finland!" Which is also one of his more famous lines. So, anyway, they cut to Doodlebob going crazy in a field with the magic pencil. And then when Doodlebob finds them, SpongeBob takes the magic pencil, erases Doodlebob, well, most of him, an arm is left. And that's important because it'll bring it later. And then, once SpongeBob goes to sleep, before he goes to sleep, he calls Gary Sweet Prince, with Gary say meow. Sorry, but once he does that, Doodlebob redraws himself with angry eyes. Ooh, Toy Story reference. It's time for you to meet Mr. Angry Eyes. So, Doodlebob chases SpongeBob around the house. He erases part of SpongeBob's pineapple. Erases his butt. And then erases SpongeBob. Not fully, though. Like, very funny. Grabs the pencil, redraws himself. They break it in half. And then SpongeBob hits us with a great one-liner, saying, "Well, Doodle, it looks like this is a draw." Doodlebob sharpens the magic pencil once again. "I see you made your point. No matter. I was voted the most artistic in high school. Ah, SpongeBob, you're gonna pay for that." Or maybe his most clumsy. Yeah, that scene is great. But anyway, it's yeah, SpongeBob discovers Doodlebob's weakness, which is paper, traps him in a book, takes out a page, and pins it on the wall. Patrick comes in and gets scared of the Doodlebob frame, and then SpongeBob hits us with a deep line saying he was a two-dimensional figure in our three-dimensional world, longing for a purpose. He still looks kind of creepy, but he was looking at a picture of SpongeBob, which is also fine. But anyway, they send the magic pencil back up to the surface via SpongeBob putting the pencil in Patrick's mouth and then using a diving board to jump and then land on Patrick's gut. But anyway, the episode ends with the artist at sea getting his pencil, and then it breaks, and then the French narrator hits us with this line. The second most important rule of the artist at sea: always bring a pencil sharpener. And then the episode ends. And I think I've summarized my thoughts on this episode quite well in the whole review. I love this episode. It used to be my favorite, but it's at number 8 now, which, while it is a downgrade, it's not number 10 or anything. It didn't get pushed down 9 places. It got pushed down 7. But, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. Goodbye.